Almost 10 years ago, I was sitting in a conference similar to this one, listening to speeches about agile killing the role of test manager, starting to wonder, what the fuck will I do next for living? Sorry, the language. Then the coming years, it was DevOps that definitely will kill the rest of the test managers. And I just couldn't figure out what to do. I had 5 months to feed at home, so the feeling was quite devastating. But yeah, here I am, almost 10 years later, a successful testing professional, and I can't see the end of work for me. So today I will tell you how I did it and how you can do it as well. Okay, those were not supposed to be there. So it's about me. A few words. So, like I said, I work in Helsinki in Vala Group. My name is Perta, and I'm passionate about a lot of things. And I sometimes struggle to find the time to do all the things that I would like to do. But the things that I really care about is quality, physical and mental health, well-being, and then also coaching people and challenging myself. I love fountain pens. Yeah, you heard right. Fountain pens, just like this one. It's my current favorite. I'm a mother of 1 and a stepmother of 2. And I like to read. And this summer I have returned to one of my passions, which is cycling. And I have also returned after the summer break now in autumn to play the board games and go to the gym as well. Well, that's enough about me. Not really, the whole thing is about me. But let's go to my background, my professional background, which will help you a little bit understand what I will be then explaining later. First of all, like I said, I have a degree in economics. I studied marketing and leadership. My first job was in an insurance company, call center. I was answering the phone, helping the private customers in anything related to insurances, either changing the address or selling a new one. After some 3.5 years, I moved to importing business as a sales assistant, where I handled all kinds of things from pre-sales, helping with pre-sales, ordering the goods from global vendors, talking to the warehouse, releasing the orders, and serving the customers. And in one point, my boss did something that I really didn't like at that time. He pointed me to be the key user in an ERP project. And I told him, I don't do this, you find somebody else. But eventually I did it, and during the project I got more and more things to do, and eventually I ended up training all the users. And started to think that, oh, this might be something for me. And then I called the project manager and the vendor after the project was over with one question: to whom I sent the CV to. So I moved to the vendor side as a software trainer. I was training point-of-sale systems throughout Finland. And in one point, I asked the development manager that, what will you do when you are losing people from your team? And he said, I will take you. And on the first day, he said that, well, we have some issues with quality. Can you do something? Sure, I said. And then I started walking back to my desk and thinking, what did I just promise to do? I have no clue. But then I started Googling, what is software testing? I found a seminar in Helsinki. I participated and learned how others are doing testing and realized that this is what I want to do. So I moved to my first consulting company and started to really learn about testing when I had other peers to learn from. And currently, I have been working as a consultant in Helsinki for almost 13 years, 2 months short. I work with companies that are buying the software and using it in their own business, mainly. So it's different kind of corporation software that I work with. I work with a lot of with business, a lot of with the vendors, and a lot of with the key users. And let's go now how I do it and how I succeed in the world of Agile and DevOps when there is no role for the tester, especially for the test manager. First thing is that I have a strong understanding of the business. I have the same language. I understand the pain points that they face in everyday life. And I can better relate and ask questions that, what do you really mean when you say that I want this feature? And what do you really want to do? Why you have this process, and so forth and so forth. So I ask a lot of questions. And I also help the business to understand what they need to do in order to make the project move forward. What it means to be a key user. What it means to test the software. Because when I was a key user, they gave us nothing. No guidance whatsoever. And especially when they said that now we have implemented the software, please test that it works. The whole thing at once. Nobody said what it means. So I help the business people with this. I work a lot with them. And with that experience, even telling that I have been there, I have been in your shoes, I know how you feel, can help. And all the questions I ask usually end up like teaching me more about the domain, but also the project to understand that, oh, we didn't think about that. Maybe we should. Or maybe you're right, that's not so important. So we have a lot of those discussions. And as a trainer in 2006, I was training the point-of-sale systems on the time when the smart cards that we have now were introduced in Finland. And I saw how the customers were afraid to put the card into the machine. They're literally afraid that the machine will bite pieces of their card. And they took it out. And I have seen all the other users when I was a key user, when I trained them how to use the new system and what they thought about it. So I kind of have seen how they use it. I have done it myself, and I understand what is important. And I try to raise that, okay, it might be cool that we have this feature, but if we use it twice a year, do we really need it? Should we focus first on this that we use 200 times a day, and it's still not working? So I understand the users, and I bring that information, and I also help the end users to bring their knowledge into the project. How many of you, this is nice to hear now, in Finland I know the answer, how many of you think that insurance terms and conditions are hard to understand? If you think so, please raise your hand. Be brave. I thought so too, and I heard it all the time when I was working in the insurance company. And over the years after that, I have analyzed that experience, and I have realized that when you can explain the insurance terms and conditions to the customer over phone, so that they actually understand what you're talking about, you can explain anything or to almost anybody. And that's something that was like in the beginning when I started as a trainer, it was the skill I based my success in, because they threw me to the wolves. Here's the system. Here is the material 1A4 that we have used previously. So there is a training next week for the customer. Please go. So this is something that I use in training, but this is something I also use every day when I'm trying to explain the ways of working and the tools that we use to the end users. And I also say that we as testers face many contradictory requirements. We need to have a good eye on an understanding of the big picture, but at the same time, we need to be able to understand the tiniest details of the software. We need to be really good and imaginative and creative in ways of how to test the software, and have a great eye for details and all that. And we need to be creative and quick and thorough, all that at the same time. And it's not really easy. But what I do in the project, when I start a new one, I start to build a big picture. I start to kind of grasp the idea, what they are trying to do in this project in my head. I write it in my notebook, and then I add details on those areas that are relevant for my tasks in the project. It's like the tree. Tree trunk is the big picture. And then you have the branches, the bigger kind of parts. Then you have the leaves that are the tiniest details. And the tree is never ready. You build it on throughout the project. You have new details, you have new branches, and you have new trees popping up. And then the trees and the branches are linking to each other via integrations and such. So building this picture of the system and the system architecture and all the functions that we have and the links, and explaining that to others usually helps also to understand what is important in this case. The former US national team captain, two-time Olympic gold medalist, and a FIFA World Cup champion, Abby Wambach, changes 8 rules of life and leadership in her book, Wolfpack, where the third one is lead from wherever you are, lead from the bench. Here she explained how she had to learn that in 2015 World Cup finals, when she was already closing to the end of her career and realized that for various reasons she's not the player she used to be and doesn't belong to the starting roster like she used. So she learned how to lead from the bench, how to cheer the teammates, how to cheer all the goals, how to keep water ready for the players when they come off the field. And she led the team to victory from the bench. So the old rule, wait for permission to lead, was indeed replaced with the new one, lead now from wherever you are. And I think that I have like an inborn idea of leading from wherever I am. I have been leading as a tester, as a test analyst, my projects to new ways and new methods and new tools. Not asking for permission, but just doing it because it helps the project. And Abby also says that leadership is taking care of yourself and empowering others to do so. That leadership is not a position to earn, but an inherent power to claim. So I think that we as testers, we need to lead the projects no matter what the title is that you hold in the project, in all quality-related matters. I'm really passionate about quality. As a child, they, in our home, used to say that if you don't do it properly, don't do it at all. And quite often, the latter was not really the option. So I kind of learned from there that the quality of not just the end product, but how to get there, how you work, what methods you use, what tools you use, it all has an importance. I don't think that high-quality software can be built with poor quality ways of working or tools. You need to have the right tools, the right methods to reach your goals. But God, I'm curious. I'm so curious person. I'm curious of learning and experiencing new things. And I'm constantly looking for opportunities to learn. I go into the projects that are in different domains with different systems, and I start asking questions. I have been in one training once where on the second morning, the trainer said that, please continue asking questions. But Nina, you have done your part. But I ask questions, and when I ask the questions, the people who are explaining me that this is the process that we have planned start to see sometimes the pitfalls that they have in the process. Or this is the function that we have planned to fulfill that requirement. And then when I ask the questions that why are we, what is this and what is that, they realize that, hey, maybe we need to revisit this. So in order to learn, I ask the questions, but I help the project to achieve the goals at the same time. So ask questions, learn new things, and that way, when you ask the questions in the meetings, everybody else is learning as well. And quite often, the customer and the business people are coming after the meeting to me, hey, thanks for asking. I didn't dare. So be the one who dares to ask. Not that one yet. This is the old set. My summary is not, unfortunately, here. I'm sorry about that. But like I briefly explained, the role of test manager has changed, and it might have changed the name, but by no means it has not disappeared. No matter what Szilárd said in the morning, it's still there. You need the leadership in the project that is based to understanding of the business, of the risks, and of the system architecture. So be the leader. And I have seen others to do. I am saying that we don't need technical people. Definitely need technical testers. I love those guys who know everything about automation and all the technical things. And then I go there like, hey, I would like to automate this. How about? And once again, something difficult. But we need everybody. And I think that the diversity in the teams, in the projects, is not just about the definition of diversity, meaning ethnicity, gender, age, race, religion, disability, and sexual orientation. It's also about the background and the education that we have and what knowledge we bring to those projects. And in order to succeed, the projects need diversity. And that being said, I encourage every one of you to think back all the things that you have done for a living, all the things, starting from the high school summer jobs, and think what skills you gained when you did that. And then work on those and use them. And then those of you who work in a hiring position, I encourage and challenge to think about the skills that your testers need in wider terms. Think about the diversity, think about the backgrounds, the educations. And then when you hire those diverse people, create an atmosphere where everybody can use the full spectrum of their skills. And I promise that your projects, they will flourish. Thank you. Hey.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nina. So we have a few questions. Nowadays, most companies believe that a non-technical software tester still has to have a certain level of technical skills. What do you think?
That's true. I actually did study Java coding in one point when I realized this. Enough in order to understand the concept and the language. And I have done some basic test automation courses. And on those courses, I've done the exercises. But if you now would ask me to automate something, I would not be able. But I understand enough. So it's kind of it's needed, but it's not the core of your kind of a skill set. But you need to understand both the developers and the business. And then find the balance that some people are more technical and some people are less technical. And then when they work together, the combination is a match for the need. But yes, in certain level, you need that.
And anyway, in the team, as you said, you need to have a good mix.
Also yourself, it's good to have, don't remember, was it Janet Gregory who said that you need to be technically literate. So you need to understand the kind of a language that they use and the words and the concepts.
Yeah. So the domain area, at least. Thank you for that. Oh, we chatted a bit here, and I might say it as a generic question. If everyone is leading from where they are, what direction are we going?
Yeah, if everybody is leading, I have a question as a reply. Are they leading into the same direction?
Should they?
No.
Will it make chaos?
It can. But also you need to sometimes realize that this is actually not the time for me to lead, that my colleague is now the better lead for this topic. So it's like with the children, we say in Finland, choose your battles. So don't try to fix everything and don't fight with everything, and when they do something wrong, not all the time you need to kind of get to the bottom of it. So choose when you are leading and when your colleague is the better one.